It's my absolute pleasure to present the second annual Shurzam Award for LGBTQ film to A Nice Indian Boy. It is joyous, it is touching, it is everything this award is designed for. There is no fancy piece of paper, but it is a $5,000 cash award.
Thank you, that's so generous of you. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you.
Oh my God.
There's a piece of paper.
Thank you so much. It's so kind of you.
Congratulations, you guys. It's very well deserved. This is such a special film. I guess we can start with Roshan. Could you tell us a bit about where this project came from, how you came to it, and why you wanted to tell this story?
Yeah, well, I'm gay and Indian, so obviously everything that's in it is very personal. The play that it's based on was first performed in 2012, so the play, A Nice Indian Boy, has been around for some time, and it eventually came to Charlie's attention. He works as a producer at Levantine Films, and he had the brilliant idea of making it into a movie, and eventually approached a screenwriter named Eric Randall to adapt Madhuri's play. And it was at that point that I came onto the project. So I came on after mostly the script was written and a plan was underway to make it into a film, but brought obviously my own personal experience and that of my partner. Karan and I had been together for a year or two at that point and brought much of our own love story into the existing script. And then we spent some time trying to make it. We did not know Jonathan and made a cold submission to him through his agent, and we're fortunate enough that he agreed to do the movie.
Amazing. Karan, you give such a lovely and funny performance in this film, and it comes also from this very authentic and grounded place, which was just a pleasure to watch. Curious what drew you to this role and how you prepared for it.
Yeah, when I first read the play, it was one of those experiences sometimes you have as an actor where you're like, is this written for me? And that's always the best feeling, because often you have to mold yourself into something else. But yeah, it just felt like someone had written my life experience into it. And then when making it, it became, I always describe the first half of the movie being a lot like what I was like at a certain time in my life, like very reserved, very shy. I grew up in India, went to a lot of Indian weddings, and I never imagined that I would have one. And so that feeling that the character has of kind of being at this big celebration but never feeling a part of it was like a very real feeling. And then as I grew up, I was like, I don't really know if I want an Indian wedding, so it wasn't that strong to me. And then I met Roshan, and then Roshan's experience, we met shortly after he came out, and over the course of our relationship, he's really kind of opened up with his emotions and acceptance and his struggle with his family. And luckily my family wasn't as intense. And so I got to see a lot of that and then kind of channel a little bit of that, and that whole experience that can be so painful and funny and awkward and all that stuff in the second half of the movie as the character's beginning to kind of, fight for what he wants his love of his parents to be and all of that. So it felt so personal and so lucky to be able to perform all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Jonathan, you also give such a wonderful, warm performance in this film. I always think about the scene where you're meeting the parents for the first time and you both know how to speak Hindi, but then you're also vaping in a bathroom. And it's this wonderful kind of contradiction in your character of being kind of part of this world and not part of this world and trying to find your place in that. How did you approach that as an actor, that kind of contradiction in your character?
I was so moved when I first read the script just by there was like a teaser that you all made of why you were making the movie, and it was pure. The love was pure, and it's rare in pieces of writing, a lot of writing about love and about relationships and rom-coms, but there was something about this script and this team that felt special and different and honest. And then Roshan and I had a Zoom in like the spring of 2021. He made an amazing movie called 7 Days that takes place during like the beginning of COVID that Karan is the star of. And I pitched Karan as the lead in this movie because I assumed Karan was straight because that's what he's playing in this movie 7 Days. I said, but this guy is so original. I know that you probably want a gay actor to be the lead of your gay movie, but maybe you could consider this straight actor in your movie because he's just such a phenomenal, original voice as an actor. And Roshan was like, that's my boyfriend. And he's already got the part. And I was like, okay, so we're aligned. So I will do this with you. Like that, the purity, I mean, these two guys are really together. I mean, it's such a beautiful, special, rare thing. And then when that love is real, but also the artistry is at such an high A+, 10 out of 10 level, it's rare that you get both of those things. So I went into it fully, like as far as the playing the contradiction, I just went in with total, complete trust in the team. And the first, without thinking of the contradiction being something complicated, I just thought, these guys know what they're doing, I'll do anything they ask. And then the first day on set was with this one. Bringing the comedy and brilliance and the revelation of there's a huge a story about a cultural kind of collide here that felt so real to me. Even though I didn't know anything about Indian culture, this family was like any family. It's unique because they always say the trope of the more specific you make something, the more universal it will become. And this, to me, in the experience of it, was the perfect example of that, because I was face to face with this incredibly specific family, and therefore it felt like my parents, my brother, my family. There was no like research necessary because it was immediately so relatable.
Zarina, you are so funny in the movie and so wonderful. And also the speech you give at the end is really, really moving, and you tread all that territory really, really beautifully, and it's a really special performance. Would love to hear about why you were excited about this character and how you got to know her and play also kind of with the expectations that we have of her and how she kind of breaks those throughout the film.
Yeah, I was not excited about this character because my son in the movie is a doctor and he's marrying a photographer. And as an Indian, I could not come around to that. Honestly, I felt like this was not the representation that I can sign up for. And I resisted. I did. I told Karan and Roshan, I said, get somebody else to do. I can't sell this story. But then they told me that the main part that the mom plays is she has to be disappointed in her husband and kids. Step aside, Meryl. Step aside, 2025 Oscars. I am in the race. And I want to give huge props to Eric Randall for writing that speech. You know, he wrote the most nuanced, beautiful words. They were easy. They were not easy to say. Oh my God. Because I had to look at my fake husband and I was like, I had to express love. I've been married for 25 years in real life. There's no love there. We just... Anybody who's been married that long knows that it's not about the love. It's about the insurance. So... But I pulled it out of me. I really did. I did what I had to do. But what an honor to be part of this film. Yeah.
Sorry, this is also Zarina's first time acting. This is her debut film.
That's amazing.
She showed up on day one and she did not know what a mark was. And by the end of day one, we called her acting AI because she picked up on everything and was just, it was so seamless. It was so impressive. We were just, jaw on the floor about how incredible Zarina was for the first time acting in a film. So it's really, we were so lucky to have her.
I got paid.
She did get paid. That's what she was saying. She did.
As we were sitting in the back watching the movie, we were watching the wedding dance, and you guys were all kind of dancing back there, and you seemed like you're having a lot of fun. What was it like shooting that scene? It just seemed like a really fun energy and like a really nice time to be around. So.
It was like exhausting and very tedious for me. We had very little time to rehearse that, and it's actually, the choreography is quite complex, not just of the actors, but of the camera. And we did, I think, 52 different setups, meaning 52 individual shots to piece it together. And inside one of those 52 shots is a oneer where he lifts Jonathan out of his chair and brings him around to the various family members before they enter the final circle. And all of that was very, very complex and stressful. And I've done 3 movies and never done a day of overtime, something I pride myself on because I'm a doctor and I like being really efficient. But we went into overtime that day. So that was my experience of it, but I bet they had something more joyful to say.
Mine was hell. As you can tell, I'm not a dancer. And they said, you have to dance. And then I was like, can I say in the movie that I don't dance? And they're like, sure, but you will have to dance. So we shot 6-day weeks, and then on Sundays, I would rehearse for 6 to 7 hours, and just looking at the choreographers and just seeing zero progress. And then just seeing them being so disappointed, and then performing for a Broadway Tony winner. I'm like, let's get him up here. But I would just look into Jonathan's eyes, and he's very encouraging, and just try to get through it. Not fun. Yeah.
I was so angry. I called my agent 10 times. I said, read that contract. Does it say dance? How can it say dance? No one asked me. But the only job is to read the 3 pieces of paper. But it was in the contract, so it was so hard. The dance was the hardest part of this movie by far. And we practiced. I know it didn't look like it, but the amount of practice we did. The fan wouldn't open, and the fan would open, and one fan would open. We needed 3 fans to open. One would open, one would. Poor Roshan was like, okay, we'll do it again. I really, it was something else, but worth it for you. Worth it to bring this one into the family.
I had a blast.
There we go.
I in Murphy's Law, I didn't have to dance, and I thought the dance was incredible. Watching them do it, and I think that Karan is an incredible dancer, right? Yeah, it was complete joy. It was total joy.
Do you have any questions in the audience? Anybody?
Yes, so we loved it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Where did you shoot it?
It's all shot in Vancouver and mostly outside of Vancouver. To get the British Columbia tax incentive, you have to shoot what's called outside of the zone. So you can't shoot in Vancouver proper. So a large part of it, including the 2 wedding sequences at the beginning and the end, are shot in Langley, which is outside of Vancouver.
Yeah, right here.
What's next for each one of you?
Another movie, hopefully. I have no idea what.
Yeah, a couple of movies with Roshan, and then Levantine, the company I work for, we are starting production on Maud Apatow's directorial debut in a month, called Poetic License. Yep.
I'm about to do a thriller called Fade to Black, where I murder people.
I'm filming my comedy special, my second one. My first one's already on Amazon, thank you. And we hopefully have a sitcom coming, a family sitcom.
I'm going to be in a Broadway show in the spring called Just in Time that's about the life of Bobby Darin.
Any other questions? Yeah, right there.
I just thought the dialogue in the movie felt so natural. How much room were you given for ad-libbing? It's funny you mentioned Maud Apatow because it felt like how in a Judd Apatow movie they're just given take after take to you guys were so funny. So how much room was there for ad-libbing?
There's a ton of improv. The movie that Karan and I did for 7 days was literally 30% improv. And it was made with the Duplass brothers, that's their style. But this movie was probably far less. The script by Eric Randall and the play by Madhuri Shekhar both have very naturalistic, grounded dialogue that's very funny. But a lot was improvised. For example, when Karan is telling boring hospital stories on his first date, those are stories that I told that I thought were interesting. Improvised, like the parking structure, the Panera. There is a Panera in the hospital. And we all love that Panera. So there are all kinds of little things like that. The story that Peter tells when Peter Kim, who played his best friend, the Asian actor, when they're at brunch and he proposes the first time, came from asking Peter to just tell bad dating stories, and then he told that very bizarre story about the man who robbed him, which is really funny. And he gave 2 or 3 other alts, all of which were cut from the movie. They were all equally as bizarre. One was about a veterinarian who put down a dog back at his place when they went back together. Like, they were all a series of extremely elaborate stories that he said weren't true but felt true, and that he gave in series. So there was a ton of improv.
And then the most iconic line improvised by Zarina in this movie: "My only gay son is getting married." It's all from Zarina. All you. Yeah.
Well, I think that line pretty much sums it up. So that's all I have time for. Thank you all. Congratulations on the award and the film. It's so fantastic.